Hello friends, and welcome back to Sincerely Keelani. My name is Keelani, and I make videos about my chaotic sewing journey and my lifestyle as a stay-at-home girlfriend trying to use her college degree to make a small business. Today, we are starting a new mini vlog series of my recent family trip to Oahu, Hawaii. I'll be going over most of the things that we did during our stay, but stay tuned for the next couple weeks for more in-depth videos about some of the places that we visited. We started our journey by flying out from Toronto, then to Vancouver, and finally to Honolulu. Flying over BC was definitely a highlight of the first flight and made me want to visit there even more. One day I will. But let me be the first to say that 12 hours on a plane is no fun. However, looking back now, I really do miss those 10 days of constant adventure. My boyfriend Nathan and I started our trip with a visit to the Pearl Harbor National Memorial and Museums. We got to explore different museums that detailed the history behind this historic event. Even if you're not a huge history nerd, going to these memorials and museums is an important part of our history, and this event impacted Hawaii in many ways. So show your respect to those who fought for our freedom and plan a visit to Pearl Harbor when you go to the island. We did almost everything that was available at Pearl Harbor and Ford Island, starting with the USS Bowfin Museum and submarine exploration. Then we moved on to the USS Missouri battleship, where we got to explore most of the ship, both inside and out. If you're a history buff, there is so much information to read and learn about that getting everything done in one day will have you on your feet from start to finish. We were there from just after opening at 8 a.m. to close, which was 4:30 p.m., spending the whole 8 hours walking around the museum and the memorials. After the battleship, we went to the Aviation Museum, where they have the boneyards of old planes, helicopters, and other vehicles. And finally, we paid our respects at the USS Arizona Memorial. Overall, it was a great experience, and I'll be going over Pearl Harbor more in depth in the next installment of the Hawaii mini vlog series. Our second day was another early morning spent hiking at the Diamond Head State Monument, where we headed out for our 6 a.m. hike. As it's a popular hike, the earlier you go, the better to avoid large crowds and the high sun heat. As a family who had never done an official hike, it was doable and honestly super rewarding after we were finished at 8 a.m. On Saturdays, the Aloha football stadium puts on a very, very large flea market where you'll find the best deals for your Hawaiian souvenirs. As the vendors are locals, it's a great way to support them while getting in your shopping fix. I enjoyed getting a fresh coconut, but you should realize there's a lot more coconut meat than you think in there, so be prepared to share. The majority of our trip, in terms of downtime, was spent at the Marriot Vacation Club in Kualoa. Here was where Nathan and I did many daily walks to discover some of Hawaii's native bird population. Nathan is an avid biology student, so he was in heaven with all the new species of birds, insects, amphibians, and plants that are native to the island. Being from Canada, we don't get the same vibrancy and variety that Hawaii does, so most of our time was spent taking photos, as well as collecting insect samples for Nathan's personal collection and for cataloging things to show family back home. Also, I didn't know if anyone else thought this, but I didn't realize black swans were an actual bird. I thought it was just a yin-yang thing for the ballet. Who knew? Our next big activity was e-mountain biking at Kualoa Ranch. The ranch is mainly known for being the site of different movies such as 50 First Dates, Kong, and the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World movies. As someone new to the mountain biking scene but not cycling, it was a great experience. We did the intermediate tour rather than the novice, as we're all experienced cyclists and wanted to do more exploration. Our guide was amazing, and he was thoroughly impressed with our speed considering most of us were new to true mountain biking and I was going very slow through the corners. This is a great option if you're wanting to do something more active during your visit to Hawaii or want a different experience when visiting the ranch, as you get to see more of the nature of the island than just the film sets. We stopped for lunch at none other than the infamous Giovanni shrimp truck for some garlic shrimp and rice. And our day continued to the Polynesian Cultural Center. Now first off, would I recommend going cycling, getting lunch, walking around the Polynesian Center, and staying late for the night show Breath of Life? No, I would not. But I do recommend going to the night show, as it encompassed most of the live shows you see at the center, but all in one sitting. The center itself was an immersive experience of 5 different Polynesian islands, showcasing activities, practices, and lifestyles of these different islands. As you will soon learn, wherever Nathan goes, he will find an injured animal. So here was little Gecko missing his tail that he found in the washroom and returned him outside down by the river to recover. Our number one must, if you go to the Polynesian Center, is to get the teriyaki burger from the Kiwi Grill. It was the best burger we had all trip, for only $8 I believe, which is a great deal in comparison to the prices of other ones we got. I did forget to get a video, but that's because we were hungry. Speaking of food, our other recommendation on the island is to eat as much poke as you can. Nathan and I got poke almost every night, and in our opinion, Tropic poke in Kualoa was the best we got to try. As someone who doesn't like raw tuna in Canada, the tuna in Hawaii was amazing. Also, musubi is a cheap must as well. Our days at the resort were spent in the lagoon freediving and swimming in the ocean, as well as doing activities such as fresh orchid lei making that my brother kicked my butt at. Being a seamstress, I thought I had the threading skills, but apparently I need to practice. We also made floral clips, decorated wine bags, made kukui nut bracelets, and some etched drinking glasses. Another travel-filled day sent us up to North Shore to Turtle Beach and Sharks Bay. At Turtle Beach, Nathan was lucky enough to capture some great photos of a sea turtle who washed up just a few feet from where he was watching the turtles in the ocean. At Sharks Bay, we spent time exploring the waters for fish and other sea creatures. The bay is a great place to see the sea life of the island, but be warned, it is a rocky path to get down to the water. There are sandy pathways which make it easier to get down, but it's not as simple as walking from sand to water here. The water was super clear, so we got to capture lots of footage of the different sea life that was available for us to find in the bay, which hopefully we'll get to see in another video. The coolest part of snorkeling at Sharks Bay was getting surrounded by a giant school of fish. They just kept circling us. I mean, it was freaky, but it was an amazing experience as well. Our day in the sun was not complete without getting some shave ice from the staple store, Mastsumotos Shave Ice, and the Haleiwa store lots. Did I love it? Not really, but it was a nice treat, especially with the condensed milk. Most things are better with condensed milk in my opinion. This is also where I got my big souvenir, which was a denim tote that had Snoopy and Charlie Brown that I will be adding some embroidery to in the near future. Also stop by the old sugar mill where you can get more shave ice if you'd like, as well as other fun souvenirs. This location was suggested by the YouTuber The Hawaiian Traveler, who we got most of our Hawaii trip and destination information from. So definitely check out his channel if you want to get more tips from a local. In this little area, there's also a clothing store, as well as the North Shore Soap Factory, where you can get handmade soap and other goodies like kukui nut body oil. When you buy soap from this store, just outside the main shop is a little area where you can get some of that aggression out and stamp out your soap bars. We ended our trip by visiting Waimea Botanical Gardens and Falls, and let me be the one to tell you that if you actually want to get your full money's worth, as it's $25 for admission, this is not a 1-hour walk. Not only is there amazing wildlife such as peacocks, endangered birds who make their home there in the park, but there's also a whole other aspect that people seem to not realize as part of your admission to the falls. We spent 4 hours in the gardens, even with a half an hour downpour at the beginning of our visit, which lucky enough brought some really fun giant snails. The park consists of a main path that gets you to the falls, but on that main path there are offshoots of areas that hold an abundance of unique floral and fauna from around the world. "90% of the time, we were the only ones in these offshoot paths, which is sad, but that's why I'm telling you about it. I'll be going into more detail about the park in a separate video, so it'll be easy for you to find the information you need. If you're a Canadian and have been to Niagara Falls, Waimea Falls will probably not impress you, especially with the color of the water. But the Botanical Gardens is a true meat of this conservation area. If you're gonna visit the falls, you gotta do it, so stay tuned. With that, our trip to Paradise ended. Another 12-hour flight back to Toronto, then 4 hours by bus to Ottawa brings us back home. Hawaii is beautiful, and I am so happy with all the outdoor adventures. If you have a trip to Hawaii coming up, consider spending more time in nature than in shopping centers or on the resort. Explore while you can and immerse yourself in the beauty of the island. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next set of videos that will go more in depth about Pearl Harbor and Waimea Falls.
The bridge.
I feel like I'm in Uncharted.
When we go through the German submarine in the first game,
Yeah.
how you felt in the going into socks.
Yeah. Or like this feels like the most recent game that we're playing.
Yeah, when we're on the one ship.
Yeah, and we're trying to rescue Sally.